Let's go back to the United States with Dustin Walkenhorst. He is with Keller North America, who's going to talk about the expansion of a shopping mall in Florida. Dustin, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you, Gerald. As you mentioned, my name is Dustin Walkenhorst with Keller North America. I'm going to take a little bit of time and talk about some micropile load testing we did for a shopping mall. Here's called Ball Harbor Shops, very upscale, large shopping mall in the Miami area. So this project was one where we were expanding this building. We were taking some time going in between a lot of tide access, low headroom area to install some micropiles to add some expansions and allow for some additional loading to this project. The project consisted of about 120 micropiles spread out, like I said, mixed with low headroom, tide access underneath, tide areas inside the building. They were spread out all over. But this was done to allow for the expansion of the mall. We went into this project with a plan. We had micropiles drilled down to the top of the limestone layer. We were going to drill a 15-foot rock socket into that limestone. At that point, we were going to grout up, come to the surface, drop in some bar, and prepare to connect to the foundation. As all plans go, they change as we went along. We drilled down. We can show here the geotech report, one of the example boring logs. With our micropile next to it, we drilled down to the limestone. We began to drill our rock socket, got down about 13 feet, and we lost return. We filled that micropile up with grout, and the grout take was about 400% over the theoretical. This was for the load test pile that we were installing to be prepared. So we filled that one up, we moved over, attempted another one, we drilled deeper, took the casing down deeper with the theory that we would get down, drill past whatever was losing our return. But once again, we lost our return, filled that up with a much higher theoretical volume than expected. About 500% on this one. So we developed a plan. This is a technique we've done many times. We drilled down on that same pile, the deeper one, drilled down and pumped a very low mobility compaction grout to fill in whatever void, fissures, small things were down there. Miami is a karstic limestone area known for fissures, small voids, different things like that tend to suck up grout. We were not expecting it on this one, but we came in with a plan. So we pumped in our low mobility compaction grout to reduce the grout overages. And then the next day we came back in and we drilled that pile, pumped up fine. So that was a solution that we could have gone with. But at that point, we called a timeout. We got with the geotech team, the structural and the general contractor and the client. We talked them through, told them, hey, this is what we're seeing. It's unexpected. These are our options. We can do this compaction grouting. Drilling deeper is an option. We have multiple options we could do here to still get you the performance you need as far as loads and settlement. Or the other option is we can do some additional testing. So as mentioned before, the borings had no sign of loss of returns when the geotech did their report. There were no voids or anything visible in the borings. But as we all know in geotechnical engineering, expect the unexpected. So we worked with the client and the engineering team. We provided the client costs for doing the compaction grout technique, which mainly involved additional grouting and additional time, considering we had to drill each pile, compaction grout, let that setup, come back in and do it again another day. So that lengthened the schedule and increased the cost for grout and labor at that point. So we provided with the client with these potential cost overages. We show here, worst case, or at the time of bidding of the original cost of the piles was about $700,000. The cost of drilling the longer piles was an extra $100,000. Potential worst case, and the cost of grout overages, these are all estimated from that load test, but the potential worst case was almost $1 million of additional cost. So we talked those things through with everyone. Talked to them about what the added time to the schedule would be. This was a very tight schedule. They needed to get these remediations done so they could open back up portions of the building, open back parking area. Parking in South Florida is very tight. So any loss of parking is a big hit to any business down there. So we talked these things through with them. And eventually we came to an alternate solution that we provided to them was to install a new pile that had a shorter bond length that would keep us above these small fissures and things that were sucking up the grout. And that cost was roughly $50,000 to run that cost. We told them we would do this cost with a shorter pile, and based on our drill logs and what we were seeing, we wouldn't lose return. We'd be able to get a good pile in there. So let's test this and see if we can get the load that you need with a shorter pile. So we got approval from everybody. Everyone felt good about this plan. So we went in, installed our test pile, and performed the test. So we pushed it to 200%, which are typical, and performed great. Nice linear curve there. Rebound was good, and we were less than 1/4 inch of deflection. Our goal was less than 1 inch of settlement at design load, and we were well within there. The geotech said, hey, I'd really like to know what kind of load we can get out of this. So we said we'll push it to the capacity of our test setup. So we took it to 320 kips, almost 300% of the design load, and it performed great to the 200%. Started to settle a little more, but we felt like we had a good ultimate capacity on this pile at that time. So that was presented to the geotech. It was presented to structural. Everyone looked. We had a lot of meetings and talk throughs, but everyone felt good with that outcome at that point. We strain gauged these piles as well, so we could see where our load transfer was occurring, and showed that with this shorter pile, we still had the 2 times factor that we needed for the load on these piles. So by doing this additional load testing of this pile, it costs, $50,000. The potential additional costs that we were looking at was $1 million for worst case ideas. So with this plan, with additional testing that we put into this project, we showed, and the client felt really great about this additional cost savings that we had to the project, provided the performance they still needed, and avoided additional costs from unexpected ground surface conditions.